Drop it.
It's a little bit crazy. You're suddenly blurry now. I wonder if anything was real. All our history's hazy, like driving in the pouring rain. Are we in too deep to heal? You tell me that you're sorry, we'll make up tomorrow. Tell me everything you know I wanna hear. I'm trying to be open, but that window is closing. And either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here. Before we're leaving here.
I know it ain't easy, but there's something left to hold on to. We can work it through, you don't have to go. There's a future here with me. We'll find the light in a clouded room. Not giving up until you know.
You tell me that you're sorry, we'll make up tomorrow. Tell me everything you know I wanna hear. I'm trying to be open, but that window is closing. And either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here. Either way, I need to make it clear before we're leaving here.
And shalom, everyone. Shalom. I want to welcome everyone to the House of the Lost Sheep of Israel. And today I know it's a little bit different, but we're doing Proverbs, and we normally be over at King James Bible University, normally where we'll do our normal studies over there on this day. However, we putting in Proverbs over here, and we will be picking up back tomorrow over on King James Bible University. And I do want to make sure that we understand one thing that was going on yesterday, on last night. I had in there where we were going to go through Proverbs 3:27 to 35 because I wanted to brush over this verse because this verse actually angers me in a lot of ways, and I'm gonna explain that and why I did what I did, but he still would not let me do it because what we coming into is Proverbs 3:27, and it really bothers me quite a bit. Not the word itself, but is what we do is the problem. So what I wanted to do is kind of just brush over it because I didn't want it to bring anger to anything. However, it still came to where this morning he still made me change it. So I had to change it. But this here, I want to make sure we clearly get what's going on here. See, this is not for the faint of heart and to try to blend into what the world is. This is the problem. And this verse has a lot to do with a lot of things and a lot of aspects and what we get into. And it bothers me because we as a people, and not just as a people, it's people as a whole, we have a problem. We have a serious problem and we don't know how to act like we don't know how to fix it. This is it. But as we get into it, we're gonna touch in on it because we gotta move forward on what thus said the Lord, no matter what. So we're gonna pick this up. We looking at Proverbs chapter 3, and we gotta pick it up at verse 27. So I want to show you this, and we're gonna get into it. And it's telling us right up front. It says, "Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thy hand to do it." I'm trying to do everything in my power, and why I wanted to brush over it in a lot of ways, because it's a problem here that we have, and it's a problem also that you'll see. And it's telling us where we keeping back what is right. That is the same to someone who you know if something is wrong, and you had the power to make it right. It's telling you right there. Withhold not good from them whom is due. And the catch is when it is in thy power, in thy hand to do it. Problem one. And I'm going to try my best to be cool. I'm going to try my best to do everything possible. But we want to look at Sirach chapter 38. And we're going to pick it up at verse 4. We're going to start here, but it goes in a lot of different aspects of this. In Sirach chapter 38, verse 4, it's clearly telling us. It says, "The Creator have created medicines out of the earth." And that's a full thought. The full bloody thought right there. And it says more. It says, "And he that is wise will not harbor them." I want you to, I'm only pausing, excuse me, because I want you to think about what that just said. He created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not harbor them. I want that to really sink in. The reason why medicines actually, when you want to look at, I don't know what they want to tell you in the world, what medicines mean. I don't know what they're going to tell you because I don't know. I've never looked it up according to the world. So I never seen what they thought. But the Bible tells you medicines is remedies and cures. That's what medicines are. Medicines is remedies and cures. That's what this is. So we have a problem. The reason we have a problem because the Creator created remedies and cures out of the earth. Meaning this. It's things within the earth that heal diseases and it heals the wounds of the body. Let's take it a little bit closer. It's remedies in the world right now that will completely heal cancers, diabetes, high blood pressures, these people who having problems with, hallucinations and all these things. He created these medicines in the earth to heal you, and the crazy part is it will not have not one side effect. Just think about that. And he's telling you, and you won't arbor them. A wise man will not arbor them. Or did they become wise in their own eyes? Now most people can understand why I have a problem. Because now you probably feeling you have a problem now. Based on what you see here. So the problem is, if they know what is good to give what is good to them, and you have a family member or you, and you go to a medical facility and you need help because you're not trying to suppress a problem, you want to heal a problem, and they're going to suppress the problem. I'm only pausing just so you can think about this as we go. That's it. That's the only reason I'm pausing. We have this big problem, and then we want to hold people in the world at these high levels, and it's telling you right there, he that is wise will not arbor them. But we will hold these same people at these high levels and think that they're the wisest person that walked across this earth. It's telling you right there in front of you. Right in front of you. In fact, we'll look at this in Leviticus. Show you the piece of this in Leviticus, which is part of the law. So this is Leviticus, it's part of the law. And it's telling you, it says, including if ye shall despise my statutes, or if your soul arbor. We shouldn't arbor them. It's because telling us right there. It says, but if our soul arbor my judgment, his doctrines, and his teaching, and so that ye will not do all my commandments, because ye break my covenant. We not only broke the covenant with the world, as in Israel, but the world has broken the covenant with God. Every time I pause, I'm only pausing. I want you to think. I want you to think about it. And this is the problem that we have. And we'll sit there and we'll hold all these people at these high levels. And you can have someone who will have an understanding on how to do a healing on some type of problem that you have. But since it's natural, they can't patent this. So since they can't patent it, what they do, they try to find a chemical type to where they can patent it, to where they can make money from it. Because if they just bring it forth based on what it is that they already have discovered that's in the earth, then they make, in their world, pennies. Because then it can be replicated by many other facilities. But if they patent it, and really all it's going to do is going to suppress it. It's not going to heal you, but it's going to just suppress the problem. But since it's patented, now they have the controller of that, and they can do what they do. Therefore, I just say, I want you to think about that, because it should anger you. You can look at many people loved ones who had cancers. I want you to think about that. Many people In cancers back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and 50s, and 60s, it was 1 out of 100. Actually, it was 1 out of 1,000. Then it went to 1 out of 100 in the late 60s. That you will have someone that had cancer. Most people don't even know this, but you can actually go research it in the government's website. Back then, it was 1 out of 1,000. And then as it kept progressing and the years kept coming up closer, as men supposedly gotten wiser and better understanding, how in the world we go from 1 out of 1,000 to today 1 out of 3? Do that make common sense? We progress with the Model T of the Ford, and you can look back there where the car was one kind of way, but then as we get into today, you look at what Ford doing. Look at the beautiful cars that they're producing. Technology and what they're able to do. You look at this and you see the National Cancer Society. They've been existing for more than 100 years. Keep telling you. They used to say always year after year, they coming this much closer to curing cancer. That's interesting, isn't it? They coming this much closer. They just a stibit away from curing cancer. And we are ignorant enough to continually fund them, send money to them. Do you get this? And all of us have lost loved ones. Pretty much. If you haven't, I'd be really shocked. I have lost loved ones to cancer. The Lord created medicines out of the earth. It has either one where you even see, it's called vitamin B17. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Vitamin B17. Some know it to where you can go into a liquid format. It'll go into Leotril, amygdalin. It goes under those names. Vitamin B17. Anyone can go check any hospital in the United States. They will not administer to you the liquid form of Leotril or amygdalin to you. And it's just the vitamin. They will not inject it in you. Think about that. Think about that. It gets so crazy. And then they train you. They train you not to eat seeds. Then you let them change seeds around to where you can't consume them, to where seeds is not there. That's why you got seedless grapes, seedless watermelons. That's interesting, isn't it? Highly, highly interesting, isn't it? Because watermelon seeds has vitamin B17 in it. It's weird, isn't it? As well as grape seeds has I believe it's B12 or B14. Interesting, isn't it? All those help reduce the problem to where you can have cancer. That's interesting, isn't it? And it's still saying that he created these medicines in the earth, and a lot of the medicines that's in the earth is actually in the water. A lot of it is in the water. Think about that. The reason why that's so interesting is this. You have this in the water. So now they're having us quite a bit right today. Today. You see water's being sold in mass quantities. Water come out of your faucet, but they have you buying water. I'm telling you. This is what it gets so crazy as this. When you look on the side of your water bottle, look on the side of it, and it's going to tell you reverse osmosis. Reverse osmosis. Meaning this, they take all the minerals and everything out of the water, and then they just give you water with nothing in it. So that's why you can't sue them. You can't do all this stuff. You can't do all these things. You can't do these things like that. This is why those are there. The reason why those are there, because won't nothing happen to you. And what it does, it moves your pH down below 5, which opens you up for cancer. Interesting, isn't it? In your water has all the minerals and vitamins in there to help keep the body at a pH level to which you need. So this is why people now, you see, that got really big, where you go buy water, you got pH 9.5, pH 8. In your water that comes out of your faucet is at 7.5, which is the optimum part to which keeps the body running optimal. Interesting, isn't it? But we are so trained, we go buy water that they done took everything out of. I'm telling you, they took everything out of it, and then they sell it to you, and we buy it because it's clear. Besides putting a filter on our water and drink the water filtered, and all the minerals are still in there. They got so good at it. I'm telling you, they got so good at this. They got in some cities and some states where they just recycle your toilet water. I'm telling you, they recycle you check your cities. They recycle your toilet water. And they say, and it comes back to you so clean, really, because there's nothing in it. But they having you drinking toilet water. I want you to think about toilet water that people done pooped and diseases done went through and everything, and then they say they clean it, and then they send it back to you. And then once you poop that and urinate that out, then they clean it and then they send it back to you. And you got an ocean out there, which they can bring water in from the ocean and remove the salt. Interesting, isn't it? Highly interesting. So we have this here. And as he says, and if you shall despise my statutes and your soul arbor my judgment, your doctrine and teaching, or how to even do these things, remove stuff from about this to where we can consume it. And this is what we do, because we arbor his judgments. But it gets better. It gets better. We're going to look at verse 16. In 16, it tells us, it says, I will also do this unto you. Down the Most High telling us he's going to do something to us. And he tells us, he said, I will even appoint. So he's going to make a decree of hurt. He's going to appoint something over you. So he appointed over us something. That's just like you can be going somewhere and they're going to say, I'm going to appoint this guard to go with you. And this guard going to go wherever you go. He's telling you the same thing here. I'm going to appoint over you terror. See it right here. He's going to appoint this over. Consumption, including a burning age, and consume thy eyes, thy understanding, and cause sorrow of heart, and ye shall sow your seed in vain. People are going to sit there and think, oh, this is talking about your children. That's not saying children. It's the same thing. The seed is the word of God. This seed right here is talking about your words. You're going to sow your seeds in vain. You're going to do all your teachings and all your talking and all your speeches. You're going to do those in vain. For your enemies shall learn it. Now are we getting the understanding? Our enemies going to learn of this. They're going to learn this. Why you think we have the problem we have? Why do you think we have the issue we have? We keep going through this. We keep going through this cycle. And what happens is we have these pestilence that is among us. It's telling us that. And it's going to constantly bring all these kinds of plagues. And these plagues going to rob us even of our children. My mother lost a child from these pestilence. my cousin, who I look at as my brother, he lost a child from this right here. he went through, and you can see these both parents. My mom, even the one I call him, he be in the back most times. Lost children to this. And the worst part is, it's cures in the earth that will completely heal it, but they will not even allow it to go into the hospitals. Now do you see why I had such an issue with this? Because we have to address it as a whole. We have to look at this as a whole. It says, withhold not good from them whom it is due. You can't do this, but they do it. The Bible says this, and let's look at this real close. I want you to think about this. And it tells us this in Mark chapter 8 in verse 36. It says this. It says, for what shall it profit a man if he gain the world and lose his own soul? That's interesting, isn't it? The reason this is so interesting, because man has even came up to the point to where they so wise in their own eyes, they have came up with a perfect number on how many people should be in the world. Man came up with this. Oh, it should be 500 million people in the world. That's the perfect number. How do you know this? I'm telling you, you can't. It's 326 million Americans. Think about that. 326 million Americans. You go over into China, you have more than 1 billion of them. More than 1 billion of them. You can go in other places of the country. I'm just talking about 2 countries. 2. One is almost at the minimal point. The other one is over it. But what do it profit a man to gain the world and lose his own soul? So then what is he looking to do? Then what is man looking to do? Because we arbor these things. And when we arbor these things, and the same thing as we do with people, because it goes a lot deeper as we're going to look at this. And the deeper we go with this, the more problem we have. Let me show you this over here. 1 second. So we're going to go down to Leviticus 26, but I want to show you in verse 30, because I want to show you how he feels about this. We need to see how the Spirit of God feels about this. And you can read this whole chapter, but we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 26, and we're going to pick it up at verse 30. And we're going to see something that he says about us. He says, I will destroy your high places. That's number one. He's going to destroy our high places. He said, I will cut down your images and cast your carcasses upon carcasses of your idols. I'm only pausing for a fact. So he's going to cast our carcasses on top of money, whatever we think it is. Whatever we believe that we have, whatever we think we good at. He's going to cast our carcasses upon those idols. But he's saying something that's really key right after this. He says, including my soul shall arbor you. Interesting, isn't it? Really interesting. The reason that's so interesting is because people will tell you that God don't hate anybody. That's telling you right there. He said, my soul shall hate you. saying it right. He says it many other times, but people sit there and say, "Oh no, God loves everybody." No, that's not the truth, because He's telling you right up front. If He created things to make sure that we can heal people and do certain things and help people, then why not sit there and give to Him whom is due? And you have the power to do it. That's the crazy part. You have the power to do it, and we choose not to. And that just don't mean for people of great wealth, and that don't mean just them. That's even talking about you and I. Even you and I. See, we arbor medicines in the earth, but we being so wise in our own eyes. And God is going to arbor anyone who do such things. Destroy your high places. He's going to cut down your images. He's going to cast your carcass up on top of whatever you seen as your idol. Withholding that is good from them when it's due to them. And it was in your power. Especially to the poor. Especially to the poor. In fact, let me see, because people just think poor is just of finances, and it's not. Poor also is a mind of understanding. Let's take a look at this. We got to go to the law on a lot of this and again pull our information. In Deuteronomy chapter 15, we're gonna pick it up at verse 11. See what Moses penned here. Yeah, verse 11. Moses penned this. He says, "For the poor shall never cease out of the land." For the poor never is going to cease out of the land. Ever. That's in the law. They never going to go out. They never going anywhere. But you'll see people, we're going to eradicate poor. We're going to eradicate poverty. And poor and poverty they don't quite go the same, but they actually have the same understanding in a lot of ways. Because I'm going to show you what they are. And when you sit there and you're dealing with poor, you're dealing with someone who's lacking understanding or in finance. They're going to never cease out of the land. And it says, "Therefore, for that reason, I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, including thy needy, in thy land." Your hand is your power. It's telling you right here. The power of thy hand. This is what it's telling us the entire time. This is why it should anger anyone who has power to do something. And we choose not to. We choose to turn a blind eye to this. We choose to look the other way. We choose to walk away. We choose to do anything other than, let me take care of this. God commanded us to do not withhold what is good. Tell you a short story. And I done told this story before. One time, me and my brother, this is some years back, me and my brother, we was on our way to work. We were working together. We was on our way to work, and he was driving, and we stopped early in the morning. We stopped at a donut shop. We were gonna get some coffee and some donuts, and I'd get me an orange juice and a donut and all this stuff. So get out the car, and me and him walking up to the donut shop. And it just so happened it's a black guy, it's a white guy standing out there at the door. And the black guy said, "Hey, can I borrow a quarter?" I told him, "When you gonna pay me back?" So he, can I have a quarter? No, because me myself, I don't give money. So I didn't tell him that, but I just don't give money. So I told him no. So then as I continued to walk, the white guy was probably about 15 foot over from him. And the white guy said, hey, sir, can you buy me a cup of coffee and a donut? Yeah, come on in. What was the difference? He was just hungry. So we went in. Then they didn't quite want to serve him because they knew he was standing outside and he's not the cleanest person that you want to see. But we go in there and they didn't want to serve. I said, no, hey, I'm paying for his. Whatever you want, get it. So he said, hey, can I get this, it was one of the big donuts, that bear claw or a big cinnamon bun at the time. So yeah, get what you want. So he got that, got a coffee, cost me about $1.75 at the most. And he, oh, thank you. Hey, dude, don't worry about it. So he walks back out. Now, the black guy see that I did that. He seen that I did that. And once he did that, he looked at me. He said, hey, I'm hungry too. I want a coffee and a donut. I said, well, that's what you should have said the first time. Me and my brother getting ready to leave. Oh, well, you ain't gonna, oh, the white guy. No. See, now you're immediately trying to put it on his color. That's the first thing he asked me. You asked me for money. He asked for food. We got in our car and we left. Why? Because it's telling you when the needy, and what you got to do is understand what needy is. And I'm going to show you what needy is to make sure we understand. And needy has one thing, and we're going to see how that works out. So what I want to do, we're going to go through this to where we can see it. And we're going to sit here and we're going to look at these, and I want to show you what happened. So we got needy means poverty. Needy means poverty. Exactly what it is. So when you see in the Bible and you see needy, that's what it is. But poverty has something else to it, which most people don't know. And we need to know what that is exactly. And it has another word for it in the Bible, but this is the best way to describe that. Poverty. Poverty is inexcusable mistreatment. Point blank, period. That's why we have an issue. So this is why the Most High has such a problem with poverty. This is why he has the problem so much with poverty. And it should not be there. And the poverty should not be there at all. When we sit down, we looking at this, where it's this inexcusable mistreatment. Inexcusable. This is the main part that we need to understand. This is why it's so important to make sure we clearly get what is happening. We clearly get this. So what happens is what's going on here. It's clearly what's happening. So with this happening, you see something else. And I'm going to show it to you real quickly. Real quickly. Yeah, we're going to actually go over here. And I'm going to show you where we're going to see this, and we'll find this actually again in the law. In the law, in chapter 23 in Exodus. And we're going to pick it up at verse 6. In verse 6 it says this. It says this here. It says, thou shalt not rest, meaning you shouldn't wrestle the judgment, the doctrines and teachings of thy poor in his cause. We can't do this. We can't do this at all. This is the problem. Because someone who's lacking understanding, and they're not going to cease to be out the land. It's telling you that. They're not going to cease to be out the land. But it's telling you right there, it says, so therefore I command thee. You see how he's saying that? I command thee. And when you see this, I command thee, we want to clearly get what he's saying. He said, so therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand, thy power wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to the needy in the land. So if they sitting there being mistreated and these things is going there, then you need to make sure it's there. You need to make sure it's clearly there. In 1 second, we have this Renee Alex. Can you make sure she stop? Because we're not asking you to put meanings in. So please stop doing that. This Renee Alex, do not put meanings in here in this chat. Okay, so with that, we need to clearly get what is happening here. We need to clearly get what is happening here, and make sure exactly what we're doing with these mistreatments and these things that is happening. So when these things happen, we want to make sure we do what is right, especially if it's in our power. If it's in our power, then we do it. If it's in our power, we do it. I want to show you something even more so. And let me put this there. We're going to look at a little bit more in Proverbs. In Proverbs, we're going to look at another piece of text there in Proverbs and get some more wisdom from that. Proverbs chapter 10, verse 15, it says this. It says this here. It says, the rich man's wealth. You see how he's saying the rich man's wealth is his strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. That's their poverty. The reason that's their poverty, because these things happen to us. These things goes on. We gotta watch what we're doing. We gotta watch what is happening here. So if we have the money, we have the power to do things, then the clearest thing to do is to make sure we don't mistreat inexcusable ways in doing things. We want to make sure inexcusable ways in doing things. It's plain, simple, understandable. So we need to make sure when we have someone that is poor or needy, to not do them in mistreatment, not to do these things in those ways. In fact, we'll get down into doing this here a little bit more. I'm going to show you a little bit more here, because we want to make sure we clearly get what is happening here, because now, even in our wealth, we can have the problem, and we want to make sure we don't have the problem there. So if I go over here, we look at Sirach, and we go over to Sirach, and we look at this a little bit more detail. Sirach actually exposes some good information in 26. We'll find this in verse 28. And this information is good because it's telling you something that God hates. Telling you something that God hates. And we're going to find out. It says, there be two things that grieve my heart. And this is talking about what's going on. Two things. He says, including the third make me angry. A third that makes me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty. Wow. So what we have to remember is this: the Spirit of God, the Word came down out of his royal throne as a fierce man of war into the land of destruction. So it's resting on that person, and he's in poverty. I want you to think about this. And if he's suffering poverty, why are we sitting there doing mistreatment inexcusably to this man or to this woman? It's craziness. It's craziness. In any way, shape, or form. Any way, shape, or form is inexcusable. The reason why you see this here, and then people will tell you, people will lie, and this is why it gets anger. And you should have a righteous anger based on this. When 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 9, is telling us right up front. 8 verse 9. It says, "For ye know the grace of our Creator of salvation, of the Anointed One, that through, though he was rich, he was rich." Watch what happens. It says, "Yet for your sakes, for mine and yours, for our sakes, he became poor." He became poor. And it says that ye, through his poverty, he's having inexcusable mistreatment. Ye might be rich. I'm telling you, we can't get out our own way on this here. This is why I'm gonna show you. I want to show you a video. I'm gonna show you a video to where we can see this, the mistreatment. And it's not just our people; they do this to other nations. When they think they have an inkling of understanding. I'm gonna show you one. I'm gonna show you one.
I don't feel sorry at all.
These stupid, they don't call themselves Hebrew.
Most High in Christ. Yes, yes, yes. Go get Janu and Jakim. Go get Janu and Jakim.
To the limit.
Go get Janu and Jakim.
Thinking they doing something.
Yes.
The stupidity.
Oh, yes. I'm out of fire, y'all.
To have people doing something and thinking, oh, we have this, then they want to film it. And so once you film it, it's worldwide. It's worldwide.
Most High in Christ.
But you it's sitting there, you're mistreating some people. This is real rulership, man. Who didn't know anything about you. You understand? Brotherhood, power, and rulership. And you have another set. Some of the same people. I'm gonna bring it over to where you can see it. This is the Irish sun. I just want to show you some stuff. This is the Irish sun. Now this is not even over here, but you can see how much they have did an impact on making people do something that is idiotic. And it's telling you, ye are inferior black supremacists. Film white people kissing their boots to apologize for centuries of racism in bizarre stunt. You see it's saying this right here. And you'll see it's telling them clearly, and you'll see them doing it. And right now, don't want to run. Oh, wait a second. You see what they're making people do. Right here. Right up front. Right up front, they making people do this. The craziest thing is this. And you see, even bastards is doing this. Bastards making people do this. But the craziest part that we have is this. We will sit there and we will have our children, we'll have our people, we will sit there and you will listen to this silliness that they push out there on street corners. bastards. And we'll sit right there and you have people who listen to these people. I don't know what you can do that is different from anything. But the problem we have, we will sit there and we will have people who would listen to it, where they know 2 or 3 scriptures, and then we'll sit there and listen to it and hold to it. And you having people who is empowered, and then they're going to get inexcusable treatment because they not knowing the scriptures, they not knowing the Bible, but all you using is something where it was our own dang fault that we're here. And then we sit there and we put it on another people. That's stupidity on what we did. Stupidity on what's going on. And the first thing people will sit there and say, oh, look what we did. Let's film this. Let's film that. Let's film this. And the weirdest thing is we will sit out there and while they're standing out there on the corner doing this, you'll sit there like, yeah. Besides sitting there telling them they're fools as they are. Ignorance that goes out. So we need to learn how to be obedient to the word. People sit there and act like they already in the kingdom, and they gonna tell people they gonna kiss their feet. They got their reward right there. The bastard, I don't know what he gonna do, but I'm just saying. They got their reward right there. And we'll sit there, we'll join to them, we want to listen to them, we want to see that gossip, we want to see this ignorance. Ignorance. You can go on some of these channels, you'll see they got large numbers of people because people like to see ignorance. And not just they subscribe to it, they hold to it. And that's why I always tell people, our channel goes up and down. Up and down. You tied to them, you go back over there. do not stop here. Keep on moving. I do not need a fool over here. Because that's ignorance. And with that ignorance, it causes problems. And same thing, like I said, those are supremacists. And that's exactly what it is. Supremacists. And they would feel the same way if it was turned around the other way. And they having, as black people walking down the street, and you have white people making you kiss their feet. You think it was the worst thing in the world. Let me pull a little bit more here, and the poor never cease out the land. People who's lacking this knowledge gonna always be there. And we'll look at this in Proverbs and pull some more in Proverbs. And we'll go in here, Proverbs chapter 3. And we got to go back a little bit. And we're going to see this in 3, and we're going to start at verse 4. So we should have remembered this. This we should have remembered. It said, so shall thou find favor, including good understanding in the sight of God, including man. But we need to make sure we can write the word of God upon our hearts, upon our minds, to where we can have a clear understanding, a clear path, and knowing what he is all about. And not sitting there, as it's telling us right here, actually in verse 5. All we have to do is go back and think about what he said. It says, trust in the Spirit of God with all thy heart, including lean not to thy own understanding, that own stupidity, that own ignorance, the own just chaotic craziness that went on. This is our problem. This is why it's such a big issue. And people sit there like, well, I just watched this for this, or I watched. Okay, then you stay there. Then you stay there. It tells you more here. It says, in all thy ways acknowledge him. He shall direct thy path. So to tell me that he told somebody to go out there to do that to some people and beat them on ignorance, because that's what they was getting them on, ignorance. They was in poverty. They didn't know. So they was mistreating people based on they didn't know. That's how they got them. Not making them bow down to anything else but to what you seen. Some people who was ignorant on what was going on. In fact, you'll see this here, and when we look at Tobit, it says a little bit there where we can pull some text from him, where we see this in chapter 13, picking it up at verse 2. And this is why this happens. It says, for he doeth scourge, including have mercy. He leadeth down to hell, including bring up again. Neither is there any that can avoid his power. Nobody. Can't avoid that. In fact, if we couple that and we see this here, where he's telling us what he did, he leadeth down to hell. But the main thing you got to remember is this: in Psalms chapter 23 and verse 3, he said, "He restored the soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness in the word of God for His way's sake." And we go down there, but don't go down there and you act the plumb fool. Because that's being the same thing again. That's being just what we were from the beginning. In Proverbs chapter 3, and we just go into verse 7. That's why I said we got to go back and look at what we were doing. In chapter 3, it says, be not wise in thy own understanding, fear the Spirit of God, and depart from evil. It's common sense. Common sense. And you see this here, and we're going to couple another piece with this, and just look at this, because just like I said, this is a highly just irritating to make sure what we really are, what we are doing. And you'll see that it says, say not unto thy neighbor, go and come again, and tomorrow I will give when thou hast it by thee. Are you serious? Are we serious? Especially for the poor. We will sit there with the poor, and you have the money right there. You have the funds right there. And you sit there, and they finish what you hired them for, and they knock on the door, and they, sir or miss, we finished up. Oh, I'm going to tell you what, I don't have it. Come by tomorrow. Just because you had the power. Just because you had the power to do that. So they have no choice, and they need it right then, but they had no choice. So they come in there, and then the first thing that happens, no, come back tomorrow morning, and I'll get it to you. Don't have it. They never going to cease out the land. Ever. So people tell, well, we're going to eradicate poverty. How? In the Bible, I already told you it's not going to ever going to happen. It's always going to be there. In Deuteronomy chapter 24, it says this also, to make sure we're clear. In 14:15, it says this. 14:15, it says this. Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 14. Watch what he says this. I'm telling you. And we do this like clockwork. We do it like clockwork. It says, thou shalt not oppress an hired servant that is poor and needy. I'm telling you, we can't get out our own way. We will sit there and have people do work, have the money in your pocket, but just to exhibit your strength. Nah, I'll get it to you tomorrow. Don't, come by tomorrow morning. Oh, sir, well, is there a possible way you can pay me today? I have to take care. You don't know if that person don't have no food in the house, his wife and kids is hungry, or she don't have no food in the house, her kids are hungry. And she did that work and said, well, you said you was gonna pay me today. Well, yeah, I said it, but I'll tell you, I didn't have a chance. Dang, is there some kind of way you can get this to me? No, just come in the morning. Do you know how many people do that? The ignorance we get into, because you had the power to sit there and make someone like beg. And it says you shouldn't oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy. You shouldn't be mistreating somebody like that. It's inexcusable mistreatment. Inexcusable. Something like that. You should go directly to hell without a get out go or a chance to get out of it. Inexcusable mistreatment. You just do them like that. It says, whether he be of thy brethren, I don't care if it's your brother or thy stranger, I don't care if it's him or thy land within the gates or anyone that's in there. I don't care who's in there. Don't you do that. And we do it. Well, we got the power to do it, so I'm going to do it. Okay. Verse 15 says this. It says, at his day thou shalt give him his hire. The same day. If you know you can pay him, pay him. Neither shall the sun go down upon it. Nah, I got him. He got to come tomorrow. I'm just so why you gonna pay him tomorrow? Oh, cause he gonna sit there. I didn't like the way he came and knocked on my door. He came and knocked on my door a certain way. I didn't like it. Yeah, he looked at me, like he was in disgust. So I make his butt wait till tomorrow. Do you know how many people do that? Do you know how many people do that? Oh, my husband wasn't here, so I didn't pay it to him. I didn't know if he was trying to knock me in the head. Did you see how stupid that sound? See, it says, neither shall the sun go down upon it, for he is poor. He's poor. He's needy. And set his heart upon it. He's sitting there like, man, I'm going to be able to put some food on the table for the next week, boy, but we're going to eat good today. I'm going to splurge a little bit today. I'm going to go buy whatever. And if he's poor, he might say that, man, I'm going to go to Church's Chicken, and we're going to get like the 24 pack, and oh boy, we're going to gorge ourselves. And then he go up to the door and, yeah, okay, I'm finished. Yeah, everything looks good, but I'll get it to you tomorrow. But I thought you was going to pay today. That's what our agreement. Yeah, I know, but I'm going to get it to you tomorrow. I had some other things I had to take care of. This is what happened. This is what we do. We do this all day. all day long. I'm talking about, it seems like we can't even help ourselves. Because once you have that power, we do it. Once we have it, we do it. And it says this here. It says, tell us right up front. Let me move this over. So when we get here, it says, son should go for he is poor. And he said it's hard upon it. Lest he cry against thee unto the Spirit of God, including it be sin unto thee. I know a lot of people don't understand. I don't know what that's saying. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to explain it to you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to explain it to you. That's what we're here for. So what's going to happen is this. I don't care who it is. Let's get that understanding. I don't care who it is. He poor and needy. Zero sum. I don't care who it. Actually, I'm going to tell you what. Let's do this. Let's do this. We're going to make sure this is clear. We're going to make sure this is clear. Okay. Let me move this over. And let me put this over there. Now. And let me put this here. And put that there. So. But he's poor and needy. All right. Now. Let's go here. Whomever it is. You get the point. Now you get the point. I don't care whoever it is. Whoever it is, you mistreat them. With inexcusable mistreatment. You got to remember one thing. God said, be ye holy for I'm holy. And if you agree upon something, I'm telling you, this is why a lot of us have a problem. This is why so many of us has the problem. But show you something that he said he created us in his image. He created us in his image. So if he created us in his image, I'm going to show you what he's talking about. And actually, let me go to 2. Let me go to 2 and see if I can get there. Yeah, I can get there. So we got to see what he's talking about here. And we're going to start right up here at 26. It says, and God said, let us make man. Man or woman. We're going to make a man and a woman. And I image after our likeness. And let them have dominion over all these things. But that's not just the problem. The problem is this. So we created in his image. We have to go here. To make sure we clear on that. So we want to go here to Numbers 23 and verse 19. 1, God is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should remember. Hath he said and shall not do it, or hath he spoken and shall not make it good? So we see the issue. Let your nay be nay and let your yea be yea. So if you made an agreement and you know he is poor, he's poverty, he's in poverty, and you treat him like this, and he sit there and he cry out. He cry against thee unto the Spirit of God. That's a sin on you. To strike. Deservingly so. Because you could have paid him. You could have paid her, and you chose not to. Chose not to do it. So we sit there and it says, not unto thy neighbor come again tomorrow. I will give it when thou has it by thee. You already had it. You had it in your pocket. So you don't withhold what is good when it's to whom it's due. I don't care what it is. It can be money. You have people. Do you know how many people who have cried out of their loved one when their loved ones were sick? Think about that. How many loved ones cried out? Every time they cried out, that's a sin going against those people. Whoever had the power to fix it, and they heard it, and they knew it. Now do we see this better? So this is why we need to make sure you think on those two. You make sure you get those two. Make sure you completely understand it. Make sure you get it down in your spirit. Make sure you try to stay away from all types of sin in that way. Let your yea be yea and your nay be nay. But if you sit there and you have the power to do something, you make sure you take care of that. Not sitting there putting yourself in trouble, putting yourself in a bind. If you can do it, do it. If you can't, can't. But a lot of stuff is in a lot of people's power, and they choose not to do it. So with that, we're gonna go up in the back and in the back of Zoom, and we're gonna finish up this, do the overview there, and hopefully that each and every person got some information there that'll help you out, help you understand what you need to be doing, help you really get a better understanding on Proverbs. Is giving you some wisdom. It's giving you some understanding and letting you know exactly what we're doing. It's not just us, but then you see it around you. You can sit there and you can see people come up to you and they'll tell you, I don't know. And you can sit there and clearly see what happened. And clearly see what happened there. And once they clearly see this, don't sit there and get caught up. So with that, you can look down in the bottom. You can join us in the Zoom meeting for the overview. You'll see the link down in the bottom in the description, and you're more than welcome to come in the back. So with that, I say to each and every person, until then, I say to each and every one, shalom.